Thank you, Dimitri. That was really, really interesting, and we had to go through so much to come out the other side.
Huh?
Next,
Let's see again.
we have Ken, and the title of his speech is Men of the Future.
Men of the future. You might be wondering, who are these men of the future? You might be wondering, what are these men of the future like? Well, if you had watched this year's Australian Tennis Open final, you might have gotten a glimpse of the men of the future. Are any of you tennis fans? Who's a tennis fan? Did you watch that final? No? You did. 6 hours long. An incredible final between two superb athletes. One, Rafa Nadal, 6'1", muscular, trim, very, very strong, very fit. The other athlete, Novak Djokovic, just as tall, just as strong, just as fit. In fact, when they started playing, they were so evenly matched that the tennis rallies went on for 30, 40 balls long. They were like machines. One of them would see the ball, run to it really fast, and in a mechanically perfect way strike the ball back. The other, Nadal over here, would see that ball coming, figure out where it's going, he'd run there, he's a lefty, and hit it perfectly back. Each man was so mechanically perfect, it was surprising that anyone won a point. But every now and then, they'd make a tiny little error. The other player would capitalize on it and eventually win the set. The first set, Djokovic won. No, the first set, Nadal won. The second set, Djokovic won. The third set, Djokovic won. The fourth set, Nadal won. After 5 hours, they were even at 2 sets apiece. Now, I watched part of it. I took a nap. Came back. They were still playing. Non-stop. After 5 hours, they were entered into the last set of the match, and it was the same thing. Back and forth and back and forth. Running, hitting, running, hitting. Machines. Incredible seeing, running, hitting machines. Finally, Nadal made a small error. Djokovic capitalized on it, won the set, the match, and the championship. Are these the men of the future? Now, you might be hoping no, because you're thinking, I can't play 6 hours of tennis if that's the men of the future. And the women are just as strong as the men. They play for many hours with the same kind of mechanical, repetitive, machine-like precision. Are these the men and women of the future? Yes, these are glimpses of men and women of the future. Are any of you familiar with the author Ray Kurzweil? Anyone have heard of him? He wrote a book called The Singularity is Near. You know it. He also developed the Kurzweil synthesizer, quite amazing musical instrument. Kurzweil is a scientist, and he examined scientific trends to see where they're leading, wrote down his projections in this book, The Singularity is Near, and if you were to ask him what he thought the future was going to bring for us, he would say, well, by 2045, we're going to have developed nanotechnology to the point where we can have billions of little nanorobots in our body that will make us stronger, smarter, faster, self-healing, never getting sick, and maybe living forever. Now, nanorobots are nanometer-sized robots. A nanometer is on the order of the smallest of small viruses. Billions of these things in our bodies, improving our performance. Meaning Djokovic and Novak Djokovic and Rafi Nadal could do easily, we might all be able to do without even thinking twice about it, because we will have the technology in our body by about 2045. In fact, we all might be men and women of the future, with super strength, super intelligence, super sight, super endurance. So I ask you, since if you follow Marilyn's advice, we'll all be healthy, and Maxine's advice, healthy and around by 2045, when we will have super strength, super sight, super brains, super salad. Different joke. I ask you, what do you want to do with your superpowers? Thank you.
Well, I'm very startled by that because I don't know where Ken's been. I mean, the rest of us already have these.
Oh.
So, I mean, if you're part of